You're watching the #1 podcast in the YouTube wrestling community. I'm your host, Jean-Paul Leek.
And I'm your host, Juan.
And we are
Road Break.
And as you guys can see here, special edition, we have the man of the hour, the man with the power who is too sweet to be sour. Juan, baby, here he is, joining us for AEW Dynamite review today. And, you know, with everything going on in the world, you know, WWE, they still gave us a show and we applauded them for it. Triple H, when he came out, and we were giving them passes. We said, you know what? They did what they did. It was a good show, all things considered. And then we got last night, AEW Dynamite. That's how you do a show. That is how you do a show with all this going on. Cody came out. He addressed it a little bit. He also was addressing blood and guts while doing so. And you had other wrestlers who weren't booked on the show in the crowd. The announced team had fun with it. Raw and Smackdown had fun with it as well, but this was just presented in so much more a legit way, and they weren't like, oh, let's show Cody and Jericho rematch, from the pay-per-view, or let's show Moxley and Jericho, or let's show Kenny and Jericho. No, they gave us all new matches, and it was all legit. And like I said, that's how you do a show.
Absolutely. They were able to make us forget what's going on in the world, and the initiative, like you mentioned it. I think that they had more fun. Having the wrestlers of, the ones that they were not fighting in the crowd made it even better because they were kind of yelling at each other. They were kind of picking who they wanted to win, their favorites. And it made the whole environment feel a lot better than WWE, because WWE kind of feels all silent. It's it just feels like, hey, we're suffering. You can tell it's like it sucks. But see, with AEW didn't feel that way. It felt more like, hey, it's a tough time, but we're going to get through it.
Yeah, like you said, WWE is like, oh, this sucks. And so, but, our WWE is like that. AEW is like, yeah, it sucks. But, instead of moping around, let's have fun. And, because we'll all get through it. And, like I said, right now, with everything going on, they are presenting the better product. AEW.
Yeah. Absolutely. So it's a good show, like you said, Jean-Paul. New matches, I appreciate that. There was a lot of debuts. You're going to get us through everything. So let's start it. It was a great Dynamite, and I'm glad that I can be with you.
Yep, and before we started, like we always do, we want to thank all the new subscribers, old subscribers, everybody viewing, tons of content on the channel, because what else are you going to do? You can't go to work, you can't go to the concerts, you can't go anywhere else. So you just got to sit at home and watch Rope Break. So,
I have a question for you, Jean-Paul. Can I live?
No. It's done.
Yeah.
It's done. You just got to stay inside.
The gas prices are really low. Can't go anywhere.
No.
It's crazy. But, we're going to get through this, family. Remember that. Keep that in mind. Keep the fade up.
Yep. So let's get the show on the road. So AEW opens up. Cody Rhodes is in the ring. You see an empty arena. He talks about how all recent events have made us feel so small and how it's important. What they do is, they are here to entertain us. And he asks, 3 of the best athletes in the world to discard their petty differences and stand together. And he said, we as human beings need to stand together, but for many of us, that means standing at a distance. Because remember, no closer than 6 feet, people.
That's right.
He said, we have been informed and held responsible by health and science, but we cannot live in fear. That's legit.
That's right.
He said he doesn't know about us, but he feels alive, and he hopes that we feel alive as well. He calls Matt Jackson out and says nothing is owed to him, and his anger is misplaced. Cody needs his wisdom as an older brother to carry Nick Jackson's heart into this match. And then he speaks of Adam Hangman Page, and he gets tired of putting him over. But he said he's a scary combination of a light heavyweight skill accompanied by heavyweight stopping power. He thought he was going to be the first AEW world champion. He wasn't. He needs to get over it, and he needs to be the difference maker and the reason the elite wins at Blood and Guts. Then he gets to his most unique friendship, and that's with Kenny Omega. And he says that they don't always like each other. They don't always see eye to eye. They always argue that who is the best and that they respect each other. But, they're sick of just being the bridesmaid arguing, who's going to be the best. And he said, this isn't a wedding, and he needs Kenny to be the real Kenny Omega, the best bout machine. In short, he needs the elite to be the elite. So then at this point, Matt and Kenny, they come out to the ring. Omega gets in the ring, and he says, normally you'd be speaking in front of a whole arena. But here they are, friends talking to friends. The whole world's falling apart, and who knows if there will even be a Dynamite next week. But he wants to go out the same way he came in, as an elite. And then Matt grabs the mic, and he said it, look. He said it's just the three of them here. Nick is out indefinitely and wasn't even allowed on an airplane. And he's like, where's Hangman? And we see Hangman. He comes out from the tunnel. They all look at him. And, he has his whiskey in his hand. Jackson says that they're not going to fix this tonight, but he's asking him man to man. Will he stand to them? So he looks at him, raises the glass, gives him a toast, pretty much says, yeah, I'll be there. Kenny speaks directly. You have to give almost like the Orange Cassidy thumbs up. Kenny speaks, to the fans, and he says that it's hard, to feel our energy, but they know that we're out there and that all they can do is give us their best tonight. He said the world goes on and we need entertainment and positivity. So God damn it, hit the lights, hit the pyro, and start Dynamite. Boom, pyro, Dynamite, all this gets going. Great opening, and you see we got Juan, hopefully I'm not doing rope break solo. Hopefully he's all right. Hopefully he's just choked up from that emotional promo to start the show. So like I said, great opening to start the show. And like I said, normally when the elite come out, I'm always like, oh, here we go. They got to bring the elite out all the time.
He was already ready to change the channel.
But here, it all made sense. It was all legit. And that was one of the things where, like I said, it was just a great opening promo, and they addressed everything. I think, like I said, when Cody first started, I was like, Triple H did it better, and then it kept going and going. But like I said, they did it right, and they definitely put on the better show. So then we get Tony Schiavone. He's at ringside with MJF. And this is what I mean. This is where you really see how much they care about the fans and putting on a decent show instead of just putting on a show for the sake of putting on a show. So he's with MJF, and he asks why MJF is here. And he says that he's here. He doesn't need to wrestle tonight. And he said he's not worth the money that AEW is offering him to get in the ring. But it's fine because it allows these undercard talents to get some screen time. MJF takes some money, and him and Sean Spears are going back and forth. And then Tony asks, he's like, what are you guys doing? Are you betting? Like, are you betting on these matches and gambling? And he's like, what do you mean gambling? He's like, who do you think you are? How can you make these crazy accusations? And he's like freaking out. And then he stops, and then he looks around. He's like, well, Tony, do you want in on this? He's like, you want in on this gambling? You're like, what's going on? So that's like, there's the humor mixed in, and it was a great, opening segment to lead into the first match.
It was cool. Like, see, like, what's the best way to, forget about problems, to, deal with, cope better with things that are going on, is with laughter. And see, MJF is, that legit that, he could easily be one of the top baby faces. Of course, he's not, but I'm saying, he has that ability because he's funny. He's starting, what the hell are you doing? What the hell are you talking about? Hey, you wanna get it?
Yeah, that's what I mean. It was so legit. So I mean, there's no way you don't laugh at that. And it was just, and like you said, laughter is the best medicine. Yes. So it gets you through all this. And no one else is good medicine, legit tag team matches, and especially when my boys win it. So we get the best friends with Orange Cassidy, and he was on commentary for most of this match.
Didn't say anything, I think.
He talks almost as much as me, let me just say. So he was on there. And then, so the best friends versus the Lucha Bros. And this was a legit match. I was surprised we didn't see Pac come out at all. But, maybe
probably
it was
trouble issues, you would say.
Yeah.
Trouble issues, you would say. Yeah.
But, this match was really good. So let me take you through the beginning and the end here. So the match begins with Trent and Ray. They lock up. Trent forces Ray to the corner. Phoenix turns the tables, and Trent chops Ray, but he eats a chop right back. They trade some forearms. Ray delivers a kick, and then Trent comes back with a Meteora and tags in Chucky. And then the best friends drop Ray with a double shoulder tackle. Chuck beats down Ray and then tags in Trent again. Meanwhile, Orange Cassidy is asleep on commentary. Like we said, he was up there. And that's what I mean. The whole time the commentary is just having a good time. They're laughing and everything. The one thing that I was really is I feel like JR plugged his podcast 5 times. like on the show, and it's like, dude, we get it. Like, you're famous, you have millions of subscribers on your podcast. You
So,
know, talk
but
about
you see what we can do when we are calling matches, though. We talk
yeah,
over and over again.
yeah,
That's what we got to
exactly.
do.
'Cause
That's
if
what we
he
got
can
to
do
do.
it, we can do it, right?
Yeah, oh yeah, I'll be like,
So
yeah, he does it.
yeah, so then back to the match. Taylor is legal. He connects with a drop kick. Trent tags in, but Phoenix kicks him down. Pentagon tags in and delivers super kick to Trent for a 2 count. So then later on in this thing, Taylor comes with some clotheslines and a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker, but Pentagon delivers a big chop. Taylor connects with a knee to Pentagon, then throws Phoenix up for Trent to land a cutter. The best friends look to hug each other, but then stop and they touch elbows because, they want to keep the social distancing. But you got to think, I mean,
That's
which it was
legit. You
funny,
see how
which
clever that is.
which it
How
was
clever.
funny. All I'm gonna say is it was funny, but you got to think with all the moves you're doing on guys touching them, suplexes, this and that, you're touching them anyway. So what
But
was
you
the
see,
point?
like they
But it
kept
was
it
funny.
kind of like in the story of the world. You will say, yeah.
Yeah. And then Pentagon and Phoenix, they attack them from behind after they do the little elbow touch. Then Taylor gets on the ramp and looks to hit an assisted pile driver, but Cassidy steps up to stop them. The distraction allows Taylor to shove them off the stage, and then Cassidy hits both of the Lucha Bros with a dive off the stage. Taylor gets Phoenix in the ring and hits a pile driver for a near fall. Pentagon hits Trent with a low blow when the ref had his back turned, and then they hit the stomp package pile driver for the win. So it was a great match, and like I said to you, this feud is a feud I love to see because you even see Orange Cassidy, even though he doesn't talk, he always wears the shades. He's like Batman. You only see from like the nose down, but he just had that look in his face, and I'm like, we're gonna see a legit match with him and Pac again. This whole 6-man feud isn't over, and to me, this is like a sleeper feud on AEW because all 6 of those guys are extremely legit.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Like you said, it was pretty nice to see good tag team wrestling. The Lucha Bros got the win is important because see the Death Triangle is like
Mhm.
it's just starting, so they need to like promote them as a legit force, as something that everybody should be scared about. And the one thing like a post match, then Chucky goes like, "Oh yeah, like you hit me in the dick," or something like
Yeah,
that. And he goes like,
yeah,
and then they demand a street fight. And actually,
yep,
they said let's have a street fight, but legit outside, like a backstage brawl. So
yeah.
extremely good. And I don't like. I'm kind of torn with the best friends because I feel that like being in this feud, they're gonna be on the losing end most of the time. So I don't think they were gonna be the Lucha Bros anyway. Because see, the Dead
Yeah.
Triangle, they need to portray it in a way that, like again, needs to be so believable. But for what it was a great match, and I really love the attention to detail going like with the elbows. Four absolutely great wrestlers. I want to see the Lucha Bros going for the tag titles. Like they need
Yeah,
to have
and
gold.
it's and
For
the
me, it's
one thing
long
that's
overdue.
yeah, and it's funny. The Lucha Bros, they're not even ranked in the tag team thing. They're 0-2 in 2020. We're in almost like the almost end of March, and they don't have a win as a tag team in 2020.
Yeah.
That's
Uh,
what I mean. So like disrespected, but now, like you said, with Death Triangle and all that, I think that they're gonna win, steamroll, steamroll, steamroll. But then what do they do? Because they're in like a threesome. So where does that leave Pac? So it's kind of hard because with a threesome like that, it's not the easiest thing to put the belts on them. So we'll see where
they
they
said that
go.
like they might come up with like instead of like a mid card title, triple like tag team title, but like three guys.
Yeah,
So
I mean that could work because there is SCU, there's the Best Friends, Death Triangle. Who else is there? There's a SCU. So there are like some
there's
tag
like
teams
the if you
that
think about it, the Jurassic Express.
yeah, the Jurassic Express, the Dark Order, they have multiple members. So, like you said, there are a lot of teams that you could do that, but I don't like 2 tag team titles. That's like New Japan, where they have the light heavyweight tag team and then
That's
the
kind of
normal
to
tag
me like
team.
too much. Yes,
Yeah,
yeah, that becomes overwhelming because like oh they're the tag champs, but are they light heavyweight or like the heavyweight? And I'm like no. So anyway, Jean Paul, move
yeah,
on
and
with the
that
show.
and that match, like you said, the street fight, whatever you want to call it, will be taking place next week on Dynamite. So that's
That's
legit. They're
right.
giving us legit stuff. So then next we get Penelope Ford with Kip Sabian versus Riho versus Chris Statlander versus Hikaru Shida. And again, this was a good women's match. Now we're finally getting the trend of good women's matches. A couple botches in here. I'm gonna blame more Penelope Ford for it, but there's a couple spots, but everything overall, this was a good match. So it begins with Riho. She's knocked from the ring by Ford, and then Statlander and Shida hit her with a double suplex. Sabian pulls Statlander and Shida from the ring, but they attack him. The two of them brawl with Statlander on the outside until Riho dives off the ropes onto all three. Back in the ring, Riho knocks Sheeta down before getting Statlander into head scissors. Statlander counters with a backbreaker and then pulls Sheeta between the ropes and suplexes Statlander onto her. And then Sheeta pokes the eye of Statlander and rolls her up for a 2 count. And then Statlander just missed when she jumps off the top rope and lands on her head. And then at the end of this thing, Riho went for a roll-up on Statlander but got her in the electric chair and then dropped her onto Sheeta. Ford hits Statlander with a reverse Hurricane Rana. And then Ford hits a back handspring, but Sheeta drop kicks her in midair. Sheeta then hits a Falcon Arrow for a near fall, and then immediately connects with a running knee strike for the win. So, like I said, the right woman to me won here. Sheeta's the #1 contender, and the commentary even mentioned it, and I thought the same thing. She hit the Falcon Arrow, a high-impact move. Ford kicked out. She didn't just cry and look towards the non-existent crowd like, oh, like this is bullshit. What should I do? She immediately kept the offense going, because she knew her opponent was just about done. And then when she hit her with the knee strike, it was done. So,
Yes.
like I said, it was a decent women's match. There was a spot where Penelope Ford, I think, went for a Hurricane Rana on Chris Statlander, and I don't even think she connected, and then Statlander had to just, jump.
Yeah,
and
like kind of roll,
really
yeah.
Yeah. But it was a decent four-way match. I would like to see, like I say every week, I like to just see more individual feuds in the women's division. Instead of just throwing 4 or 3 women in a match and just being like, yeah, whatever happens, who cares?
Yeah, I feel that, like you said, maybe the one thing at least they're giving some other girls some in on screen time. For example, Penelope Ford, we've been asking for that. We said we wanted to see how she will do. For the most part, she did really good. That spot that she didn't connect the Hurricanrana, but other than that, she did pretty decent.
And that's how you get better. You get better by wrestling, by being on television, by that's how you get better. So I do want to see these women. I'm not saying oh, you botched one move, get off my TV. No, if you say that, you're an asshole. You got to get them on TV. You got to get them in matches so they get better. So I agree with you on that regard.
Yeah, it was good, and see Hikaru Shida, I think out of all of them, she's the best girl right now. She has momentum, and I think everybody's rooting for her. So a lot of people are saying that will be the next AEW Women's Champion. I think that out of Chris Statlander, I think Hikaru Shida will be even better for me. She has more in-ring personality. Of course, she doesn't talk much, but I feel that the way she comes to the ring and everything, I told you the theme song is really great. I would love to see a match with Nyla Rose and see what happens.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think they're really that's going to be their program, and I hope that they do the title change. And if they do, maybe don't book the match until your next pay-per-view if you want Nyla to have a decent run. But I do think Hikaru Shida needs to be the women's champion at some point, just because of the body of work she put in already.
Yeah, and then and out of Riho, she's the better wrestler. Riho was not, and see, I don't think the one fact is nobody even wonders where Riho was. When we saw her coming, I was like, okay, it's who is she? Oh, all right, cool, is Riho.
Yeah, and I think it was, I don't know if it was a one-on-one match or if Kip Sabian was there and he caused an interference, but I think on commentary they said that Penelope Ford pinned Riho on Dark.
Okay.
On the A, so that's kind of why they were in this match, and then there was a little bit, whatever, and Statlander and Sheeta are the top of the women's division, so there was all kind of reasons why it made sense. But that's what I mean. Riho was the former women's champion, and then Penelope Ford pinned her on AEW Dark. So you go from women's champion to AEW Dark. So that's what I mean. So
it's kind of like Ricochet if you think about it. You go from Super Showdown, and then you're in main event.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the one thing you mentioned this to me is don't you said it hey, Brandy Rose as a ring announcer, that should be Brandy Rose. It should be her role because she did good. She used to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I want to see her do that and what she was doing, the past couple weeks. Just come out with Cody and do stuff like that. Or to me, she's not good as a heel manager. She wasn't good with Awesome Kong, and we saw where that storyline went. Literally nowhere. Done. So that was bullshit. And to me, this is just the better role for her.
Yeah, she did a good job. Yeah.
I agree. So then we get Tony Schiavone. He was interviewing pretty much everybody because as the show's going on, you get more wrestlers coming out. to ringside, because it's like, what are they going to do? Sit in the back and watch off the monitor? Hell no. They have any seat in the house they could
They're
choose
not
from.
WWE.
No.
They're gonna go outside.
So
Yeah.
they came here, and he interviews Colt Cabana at ringside. And Colt Cabana, he said he's there scouting, and he's pretty much said that he's the Bruce Springsteen of AEW, and that he's got a front row seat. And he said he really likes Penelope Ford in this match, but he said that she'd be better without Kip Sabian. So then Sabian's still at ringside. He overhears as he comes over. He gets in the face of Cabana, and he's real angry, Sabian. Cabana's kind of just blowing him off, like, yeah, whatever, kid. And then he shoves Cabana, and then Cabana is just like, really? And like slaps the shit out of him and is like, get out of here. Like, dude, like, who do you think you are? So like we said, that's the start of a feud. You could see that's the thing. Penelope Ford, it was like, that was the feud with Joey Janela. That was Janela's ex-girl. She's with Sabian. That was their feud. I don't even remember who won the feud. Because to me, I felt like they did not even care about that.
Keep saving.
That's like, it was like there was no big blow off for that. Not that it was like a money feud, but it was like I don't even remember the ending. That's how much I feel like they cared about it. So now they're kind of doing the same thing.
It was like a money feud with no money. That's what it was.
Yeah. So now they're doing the same thing. So it seems like, the woman is the root of all, these feuds here. The bad girl Penelope Ford. So
that's legit.
Well, that should be some legit matches with Colt Cabana, and I feel like he's going to get the win because they're not going to want to have him lose his first feud here in AEW. So then we see a video package from Jon Moxley earlier in the day. He left the building because he wasn't allowed to compete. He says he doesn't care about being medically cleared. He's never been fit to compete, anywhere he's been, if he has the doctors, and he's going to take a drive. He's going to blow off some steam, but he'll always be in the inner circle's blind spot. So he gets in the car that Jericho gave him, or he stole from Jericho, whatever you want to say, and he drives off. So, I still like how they include Moxley in this. And I really thought, like I said to you, I thought Moxley was going to be, the fifth guy to replace Nick Jackson in Blood and Guts. But as we'll get to later in the show, we see that is not the case.
Yeah, I thought the same thing too. But then as we go on, we will find out who really was.
Mm-hmm. And then we get the Butcher and the Blade. No Bunny, unfortunately. Maybe same thing with Pac. Couldn't travel. Some issues going on there. And they go against the Jurassic Express. And this time it's just Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. And like I keep saying every week, anytime it's the Jurassic Express, you got to look who the members are. If Marco Stunt isn't wrestling, the Jurassic Express is going to win. Who won this match? Hey, the Jurassic Express. So to start this thing, Jungle Boy catches the Blade with some chain wrestling. He gets a near fall early on, followed by a springboard arm drag. The Blade cuts him off with a knee to the gut as Jungle Boy hits the ropes. Luchasaurus tags himself in, and the Express hits a series of kicks, and then Lucha tosses Jungle Boy into a tornado DDT on Blade for a near fall. So then later on, towards the end of this thing, Jungle Boy goes for a Hurricane Rana on the Blade, taking him to the floor. But they botched that spot, and both guys kind of just fall out of the ring.
And done.
The Butcher, I can't even talk here. The Butcher and Lucha nail each other with strikes, and Lucha gets the advantage with a leaping back kick. Then Luchasaurus goes for a choke slam, but the Blade hits him from behind, and they hit a series of clotheslines in the corner. The Butcher and the Blade hit an assisting, swinging DDT for a near fall before Jungle Boy breaks it up. The Butcher hits a backbreaker on Jungle Boy, and then they go for their finish as MJF screams for them to do it. And that kind of distracts them. And then Luchasaurus, he saves Jungle Boy and hits a tail whip on Blade. Jungle Boy then dives off Lucha's back and drop kicks Butcher to the floor. And then the Jurassic Express hit kind of, to me, it almost reminded me like a 3D. It was like an assisted cutter almost. They hit that for the pin, but it felt like an eternity later. They hit this cutter. And then Jungle Boy, like Luchasaurus is just like, he's not making the cover, but he's like pretty much right on top of him.
He's getting ready for it. Yeah.
He looks at Jungle Boy, and Jungle Boy looks at him. He hits the ropes, and then like he doesn't even like dive out of the ring. He hits the ropes, runs, and then like crawls out of the ring, and it was just so painfully awkward. So then he goes on to the Blade or the Butcher, whichever one was on the outside, and he kind of holds him down, and then eventually Luchasaurus makes the pin. So to me, that ending was botched, but it was still a pretty decent match. And like I said, Jurassic Express, it's good to see them get a win. And it's tough because I want to see the Butcher and the Blade go somewhere as well. But, you got to have somebody be the jobber team, of course.
More than now, yeah, it's kind of hard. Like we've said this before, it's hard to like put both of them winning on at the same time. And then I feel like people are more over, or they root more for the Jurassic
The,
Express,
yeah,
because they, remember before he got injured, before Luchasaurus got injured, like they were supposed to be the ones that were going to win the tag titles.
yeah,
So I think it's their time to kind of like get some wings, get over, and then be the number one contenders for the titles. So that will be good. So they needed to win here, and
yeah.
the Butcher and the Blade is pretty much like like they're like being paid by MJF because even they gave them
Mhm.
money. He gave them
Yeah,
money like before the match starts, like make sure you guys win. I got you, and boom. At the end, they always lose. You can see MJF when they lost. He's like really upset. He's like, oh god, like come on. He's like,
yeah.
I'm losing money.
And I guess the one thing that commentary did kind of try to save the Butcher and the Blade, they're like, oh, they were gonna hit, they had this match wrapped up, but they were distracted by MJF. So maybe they'll do something, or they, turn on MJF. Who knows? I don't know what you're gonna do. But commentary tried to save Butcher and the Blade, but to me, the way that the Jurassic Express botched the ending, it made them look like losers. Like really, like it took them 10 seconds to make the cover, and you couldn't kick out from that.
Like you said, like I think
But
that like there was some miscommunication there. Maybe, like you said, maybe they did the cutter right. So then
mhm.
maybe Jungle Boy should have just do the suicide dive. But I guess the Blade, it was too far. He
Yeah,
was really too like far, and so he couldn't really dive because like maybe he measures, he goes on the outside, and then Luchasaurus is like, "Should I pin now?" And he's like, "Yeah, do it," and then pin him, and that was the end. So it was kind of
yeah,
a botch, but
because
hey, you know
because
what?
I don't, yeah, and that because that's the thing. I don't even know. I'd have to go back and watch it. I don't even know who the legal man was. Jungle Boy might have been the legal man, and that's maybe why Luchasaurus was like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah,
You know
maybe,
what I mean? And the ref
maybe.
was like, "Shit, like I just got to make the count, and we just got to move on."
Yeah, yeah.
So
Let's just it's done. Let's move on, people. It's like
yeah, so
there's more things in the work. Come on,
yeah,
let's go.
yeah. He's like, "Let's move on because now it's time for the Dark Order and the Exalted One." Was it Matt Hardy? Who was it gonna be? You know, and the one thing going into the match before with the Blade, our good buddy Tom, he's friends with the Blade. Tom called two things tonight. This was one of them. So the
Tom
Dark
Live.
Order,
That's right.
yeah. So the Dark Order, they make their way to the ring. Evil Uno says that he hoped that AEW production team is as smart as they think they are and concentrate right on his eyes as he talks to his people. Uno says that the Exalted One is near, and when he arrives, he will breathe new life into the Dark Order. Uno says that the rest of the Dark Order will see what he sees because he has promised the arrival of the Exalted One and that he never lies. Evil Uno breaks his promise because Evil Uno cares about you. He says, "We are one and the Exalted One is near." So then at this point, SCU, they were at ringside.
Whoa, whoa,
Daniels yelled
whoa,
at him.
whoa, whoa, whoa,
Yeah,
whoa! Would you
exactly.
please stop?
And then him and both Frankie Kazarian, they come to the ring. Daniels tells Uno, here, like Juan just said, stop running your mouth. He said he's sick of all these lies. Daniels says that Uno hasn't made anyone's life better, and all he's done is wasted everyone's time, and they're sick of it. He again reiterates that there's no Exalted One, but then a creepy video appears on the screen. A man is a man is shown in a robe, and he says that in short time, people will be brought up to date on who he is. He says that the Dark Order do what they want and when they want, and if he wants something, he takes it. He takes down the hood and reveals himself to be Brodie Lee.
Brodie Lee, aka for the ones that like know WWE.
Yep, Luke Harper, and that's the one thing. So he learned from Bray Wyatt. Bray was like, "Listen, man, this is how you gotta be a cult leader, man." Brodie Lee was like, "Okay, legit, legit." He was taking notes. He's like, "Okay, okay." He's like, "Now go to AEW and lead that cult, man. I'm gonna job to Goldberg." And he's like, "Okay, that's legit. Yeah, we
you
wow."
do that. You do that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
you do that.
so he's the Exalted One, like we said. Tom called it. I was thinking Hardy because I was thinking Brodie Lee. I don't know. To me, like the way Brodie Lee looks, I feel like he could have been. Now I have no problem with Lance Archer being with Jake Roberts, but to me, they just would have looked. I feel a little better, the two of them together. I don't know how you felt, but like, I mean, he looked good in this role as the Exalted One. I just feel bad that there was no pop. I mean, the pop was on the internet. Everyone was freaking out, but there's no when you watch this back live or you watch this back, 10, how many months, weeks, years from now, it's just nothing. There's no
Yeah, I
crowd.
mean, you
No,
got to
what I mean?
like.
But
I
that's the one thing I will applaud them for, though. is that they still give us the show. Like they didn't, they weren't like, oh, let's just show replays and let's just show this, let's just show that. But I do want to hear what people say, because you have a lot of people complain, oh, they should delay WrestleMania. And I was one of them. I said you should push it back, try to get it at Madison Square Garden. But if they have the show, hey, I'm still going to watch. I'm still going to enjoy. I'm not crying about it. If I could pick one or the other, that's what I would pick. We have these people on the internet who cry, complain, and bitch and act like they're so entitled. And it's like, but you probably popped at Brodie Lee. You didn't say, oh, why didn't you wait for the Exalted one to come in when you could have a crowd? So that's the thing. Like, don't insult one and praise the other for the same thing.
Oh yeah, no, like you said, for example, like see, they if you're gonna keep it like a legit show, right? Forget about what's going on in the world. Forget like that. There's 10,000 people, 20,000 people, 14,000 people, whatever AEW like holds every time that they're in a different city. They needed to do this because, like you said, the show ever since it started, they kept it legit. So for them, it was a normal Dynamite. So in a normal Dynamite, what you will do is if you were thinking about revealing this guy, you did it. Yep. And yeah, it sucks because like, see, there was no pop, there was nothing. Of course, everybody was like, Brodie Lee, Brodie Lee, Brodie Lee. And see, they made a really good twist because everybody, like I think 99% of the wrestling fan community in the whole world was appointed at Hardy. They were saying it will be Matt Hardy, but then when even like the voice to me sounded like Matt Hardy. Because I never seen Luke Harper talk or Brodie Lee. I never like, I don't know what his voice sounds like. And then he reveals himself. Legit. Yeah. It's a really good twist.
So then at this point, Brodie Lee, he makes his way to the ring and he says he knocks on doors and you better answer or he will kick it in. Lee says that Daniels is not the first out-of-touch old man to not believe in him, but he will make damn sure that he's the last. Legit line, giving pretty much the middle finger to Vince McMahon.
Yep.
And he says, when the video ends, that was pretty much their last line. Then when this video ends, Lee's in the ring and he's behind SCU and he hits Daniels with a big boot and then he takes out Daniels with a lariat and stands tall with the rest of his group in the ring and they scream, "We are one," as they stand behind him. So legit reveal, like we pretty much said everything already. He was misused at WWE. He comes here. Like we said, it's a shame there was no pop, but AEW, they book it legit. The show goes on each and every week, and that's what you got to applaud for that.
If they keep it like this, though, if they keep it legit for like, hey, a whole year, a whole year of like the Dark Order keeps winning matches, keeps going over like big names, Omega and Page, Lucha Bros, Best Friends, all of them. If they keep going through all of them, then you could potentially be looking at like the most powerful force outside of the inner circle.
Yeah, I was gonna say when you say that, that's perfect. That transitions right into what I was gonna say. There's only one person who needs to put Brodie Lee over to make him a made man, and that's the champion.
That's the champion, yeah. If it will be legit.
Yeah, even if he doesn't win clean, even if just in the record books it says Brodie Lee, pins Chris Jericho, he's a made man.
Yeah, it would be cool. And they need to do that if they want to, get all the juice that they can get from Brodie Lee. Because as a wrestler, this. Like, we want to say 3 years ago, exactly around this time, 3 years ago, he had the feud with Randy Orton, and they were feuding over. He was like, Bray Wyatt was the champion, and there was no potential feel that it would be a triple threat at WrestleMania. And see, everybody was rooting for Harper. Remember that. The matches and everything. Everybody was Harper. They didn't, do it.
Yeah, because, not to get too much into the storyline off track, but like you said, it was Bray Wyatt was just so blinded because of Randy Orton joining the family and helping him. But Harper was always giving Orton, the eyes. Like, I know this guy is a snake. I know he's going to turn. And Wyatt was like, nah, man, nah, he's cool. Trust him. But Luke Harper never trusted him. And then Bray Wyatt won the title. Orton goes after him, kind of sets up this match. To me, it would have been the perfect thing. It would have been you had Shawn Michaels and Triple H, and then we just threw Benoit in here. He won the Royal Rumble, but people only care about these other two. They don't care about this guy. Well, the fans care about this guy. And when Benoit won, look at that pop, look at that celebration. It would have been the same thing with Luke Harper, but like he said, senile old man doesn't believe in him. That'll be the last time this ever happens.
This is his last opportunity. If he's going to turn out to be something legit, something different, and somebody that is going to be over, it is now or never, pretty much.
Yep.
Move on, Mr. Great stuff, though. Great stuff.
Yep. So then we get, my boy Jake the Snake Roberts. Him
That's
and Lance
right.
Archer were interviewed. Jake's, he pretty much commandeers the mic because he goes to interview Archer. But Jake, I like how Lance Archer doesn't say pretty much anything. It's just Jake is his mouthpiece. Who wouldn't want Jake Roberts to speak for him? The dude can do a promo better than anybody else. It gives that old school feel, but it doesn't feel outdated. Yes. He can speak in the modern day, and it fits, and it still commands all the respect it did back in the 80s. And he says that, he tells Cody that they laid the gauntlet at his feet. They gave him respect. And he's like, but what did we get in return? Absolutely nothing. He's like, he's got a record. They don't play games. They told him what they want, and it's one thing to keep away and try to keep out of harm's way. He understands that. He's like, but ignoring me is like spitting in my face, and I will not have that. He said he listened to him and his friends earlier on tonight bitching like little girls who were worried about prom. And if he doesn't like that, then he can come try to shut him up. And he said it's time for Cody to stand up and meet the man, and they came here for a specific reason. It wasn't personal, but Cody's made it personal. He said that he had a chance to meet them straight on, and he will get his attention. And then after this, we get a video kind of package, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, of Lance Archer at some kind of, like we said with the, speaking of Bray Wyatt earlier, it looked like some redneck Wyatt compound. He's in like a backyard, psycho. There was like a little person who was like the ring announcer, and he just was squashing all these guys. Like it looked visually, it looked cool, but he was, if I'm being honest, he was doing like bullshit moves. He was just slamming the guys. It wasn't anything like that impressive, but you just saw how powerful he is, and he just
destroyed all these guys. To hype Lance Archer, but like you said, it was in Jean Paul's backyard. Like it was legit. It was legit.
Yes. Then so
all the neighbors were there. Yeah,
all my neighbors, the Amish neighbors. So then he just beat everybody down, and he's standing tall. So again, hyping him up. I'm excited to see, this feud, just for Jake Roberts, if I'm being honest. Lance Archer.
Don't you think, like, I see Jake Roberts sits down and he's just like this, looking at it like he knows he's going to win. So he's just like staring at like the whole thing. He wins and is like,
they even have a picture of Cody. I think it like a knife or something is like stuck in the picture, and it's holding it on like the wall of the house or the barn or whatever it is. So they're coming after Cody. And then the commentary after this, they announced that Wardlow versus Luchasaurus in a lumberjack match, for next week, I believe. And then they also confirmed the match of the Lucha Bros and the Best Friends in a street fight. So I don't, is it just the Lucha Bros and the Best Friends, or is it all 6 men?
No, it's only Lucha Bros and Best Friends. But see, again, of course, backstage, not the Backstreet Boys. No, backstage, bro. You know that like there will be interference.
Back. All right. Oh yeah.
You know there will be interference. There will be Backstreet's back. All right. And then you will see Pac and Fresley Squeeze. Yep. And even when he was on commentary, he said Fresley Squeeze, Orange Cassidy. So that's legit.
Exactly. And then at this point we get toward the main event. So then the Inner Circle, they make their entrances and they come out, and as we go to commercial break, and we thought, oh, it's just the Inner Circle. Where's Le Champion?
Where's Jericho?
Come back from commercial. What's on the speaker? Judas. So Le Champion wasn't going to miss the show. He makes his entrance and he joins the commentary team. So you knew commentary was going to be good. Jericho, I didn't write any of them down, but he had so many good one-liners and stuff he was saying on commentary. Oh, the one I do remember, when Arn Anderson came out, he's like, look at Arn Anderson with his Waffle House menu. Because he's like the coach, and he's supposed to have like the, all like the notes and the plays and all that stuff. Football coach. He's like, look at him with his Waffle House menu. And I think Jim Ross laughed at that. He's like, yeah, I got you with that one, Ross. He's like, yeah, huh? Because he's trying to because commentary, they're supposed to not sell him. They're supposed to just ignore him and not like laugh at what he says. But he was making them laugh. So
that's what I mean. If he says good stuff, they have to laugh.
Again, you had the good atmosphere, and like I said, I'm not going to say WWE didn't do it because Triple H was funny on SmackDown, but then on Raw, what did we get on Raw? Byron Saxton, hell yeah! Nobody wanted to see that. No, absolutely. So
that's the difference. See, like good laugh, organic laugh, and not overdone.
Mm.
Even like what happened with like Jericho came out, Sammy Guevara. What are they doing with MJF?
Yeah.
They were singing Judas,
Yeah,
the
they were
disco hollow,
singing
what everybody
Judas. Yeah,
does.
yeah, and even back to the Lucha Bros best friends match, you could hear MJF. He's like El Kick Outo or
Yeah.
El Pino, and it
Or
was
like
just like
puto,
yeah,
yeah, like it was great. It was great. See, have fun with it. Have
yep,
fun, but
exactly.
organic. You know, like I remember, like again, Le Champion's coming out, and then you are beautiful on the inside, and everybody knows the song, so they
Yep,
kept it
everyone's
cool.
singing it. So
Main
then,
event jump.
yep. So then we get the Inner Circle, Proud and Powerful, and Jake Hager, and of course they had Sammy Guevara come out, and then versus the Elite with Cody Rhodes, Hangman Page, and Matt Jackson, and they had Arn Anderson and Kenny Omega out with them as well. And then this match was for the winning team gets the advantage in blood and guts. So right when they come out, like we said, the crowd, all the wrestlers were involved singing. MJF mocks Cody Rhodes for his bullshit tattoo. And then
Yeah,
to start the match, Santana and Rhodes, they go at it, the Inner Circle. Man, he's on the attack, whip reversed, and then a drop down leapfrog, snap, scoop, power slam connects. And then the arm wringer shifts the tide back, tag to Ortiz, double back suplex, sets Cody up for some uppercuts and the eye poke. And then they're jockeying for position over a suplex, but Rhodes hits a release vertical suplex and tags in Jackson. Then a double axe handle off the top, quick tags working his arm over, and then they do some double team maneuvers. A tag is made, but Matt wants to attack Hager, and Santana takes full advantage, cutting him off with a knee. Jackson explodes out of the corner with a spear, and at this point he's ready to go, but he's in his corner. Page tags himself in, and then Matt, he kind of looks at him. He's all pissed, but he's like, you know what? Whatever, like, can I live, relish? He's just like, whatever, he's
whatever,
out of
dude.
here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you want to be there? Yeah, sure, do it.
So then they're trading shots. He's trading shots with Santana, strikes in the corner, and then he hits a huge lariat and a short arm lariat, and then Hangman's on fire now at this point. So he hits a pump handle fall away slam into a bridge, only for a 2. Page gets in Ortiz's face, and then turning back to Santana to tag Rhodes, a scoop, float over, block, and then an O'Connor roll, but Santana clotheslines him to the floor and tags Hager in. Ortiz works Cody over on the floor, and the match breaks down as we go to commercial break. So then to go towards the end of this thing, Hager pulls Page out of the ring. Jackson charges at Santana with his boot up, hits a rolling Northern Lights suplex, and then looking for the same on Hager, but he's too big, but Hangman Page joins him, and then he helps him complete the suplex, reaching an agreement, and then they're like, you know what, let's do it. So they're going for the Indie Taker, but Hager pulls Hangman off the top of the apron, and Santana thinks fast, and the Inner Circle win by pinfall with a victory from Santana on a Matt Jackson. And he gets an O'Connor roll or some kind of roll up, I think, on Jackson when they're all kind of distracted. And
Yeah,
then the Inner Circle wins.
finish wasn't that legit for me. I mean,
Yeah.
I thought that like it seemed to me that like he's like, okay, we have like what about like 6 minutes, so we gotta keep going with this because we had a promo to cut and then
Yeah.
a big reveal. So I
Mhm.
was like, yeah, it's like, oh, all
And,
right,
and,
done.
and most, and most of the part that I skipped over, they just had Cody Rhodes isolated. They were just really beating down Cody Rhodes for a lot of this match, and then he was able to make the tag. And that's the one thing, like, I'm not big on Cody in the sense where he's like always out there and he's always the guy. But like we said, it wasn't for him, AEW wouldn't exist. So hey, you got to give him that. And at
Even I
least
will
like
say
that,
to you, see, like the suicide dive that he does towards the end, it was
uh-huh.
kind of like he almost botched it. He
Yeah.
was, but like maybe he didn't measure the distance between the barricade and the ring, so
Mhm.
like it didn't look good to me. But hey, it's
Yeah.
fine at this point.
But like I said, he's always in there. He's willing to do the job. And like I said, he looked like the weakest man on his team out there tonight. He was the one who was getting beat down, isolated. But I mean, of course, he always kicks out, and he's the one wasn't the one who ate the pin. But you know what I mean. The right team, I think, won because you do want to set up. I always like when the heels have the advantage, especially if the baby faces are going to win. It's a better story to have the heels with the advantage. So, like I said, the winner is the Inner Circle. So then Jericho, he says that, of course he has to come down, join his boys to celebrate. He's like, you know what? Even if there was nothing going on in the real world, I'm banning all fans from future AEW events until he says so. Because he's like, I like it better this way.
I
And we
even
even
said
said,
that to you. I like it better that way.
yeah, we can actually hear what's going on. You can really see everything because sometimes the crowd and stuff, like as good as it is, sometimes they take you out of it when they're cheering and singing and doing all this stuff. It sometimes the wrestlers have to change what they're saying in their promos to go with the
Yes.
crowd. Now we can hear
Yes.
they're actually, what they want to be saying. So then Jericho says that the Inner Circle will not only have the man advantage in Blood and Guts, but they will have the numbers advantage in general because of what they did to Nick Jackson. So Jericho keeps talking, cutting a promo.
And then you see a drone.
We see a little drone, and it's like, what, is somebody getting an Amazon package delivered? Like, what's going on here?
I
Are you
thought it
getting
was
toilet?
Uncle.
Yeah, are you getting toilet paper delivered to your house, or what's going on here? So, like we said, no, it wasn't Uncle flying the drone. So we get to the arena, and Jackson says that they won't have the numbers advantage because he made a call to a friend that owes him a favor.
And then you start hearing some piano
The
music.
piano. Yep. And then we look up to the sky, and who is it? Matt Hardy.
Broken Matt Hardy's back, baby.
And like we said, Tom called this too. Tom said Matt Hardy's going to be, the guy on the team. And you know what? I'm going to go into the shoot here. I even said to Juan, I'm like, Tom, legit. But I was like, Tom, there's no way he is right. I'm like, they're not going to have Matt Hardy be on the thing. And even though it makes sense, the Jackson showed up at his house and, he said the Bucks of youthfulness and they were all going back and forth. But to me, I was just thinking that, because of their feuds and stuff, like he wasn't going to be on their same side. But, to me, like I said, I would have had Moxley. Maybe Moxley will make an appearance anyway. If he does, then I wouldn't like that because then the baby faces are too stacked and they have the numbers advantage. And especially if they win, then it makes the Inner Circle look like losers. But, delete. That's all I can say. I'm happy to see both these guys.
Really cool. It was really cool, Jean Paul. The one thing, like you said, I don't know if the baby faces are going to win. Maybe not, because I'm thinking post match. That's when like John Moxley will come, and why? Because also Lance Archer will come out. You know what I mean? Like, and then he will even it up because Lance Archer is going to go and attack Cody, and then John Moxley is going to come and attack Jericho or whoever is there because they're going to pretty much is going to be faces against heels.
Yeah,
but
that is
extremely
true.
great.
Lance Archer coming out. Yep.
Yeah, it's extremely great to see Matt Hardy. He's the one that they said I pitched so many ideas to Vince. Like about the broken gimmick. I have the rights. It's like you don't need to call it walking anymore. It's like I got it. Can you please, use me this way? He even pitched again another version of version 1.0. Mm-hmm. He's a version 1. He said like, can we do this? No, done. Can I be broken? Done. Can I live? None. Like, can I, can I get my contract? Can I get my freedom back? Done. So at least let
me ask you this though, because I feel like the Inner Circle would have been a role you plug him, not the Inner Circle, I'm sorry, the Dark Order would have been a role you plug him into, and like you said, you can run the Dark Order forever. What does he do as broken Matt Hardy by himself? Not that he is stale and he can't do anything, but who do you feud him with? He's a babyface right now, so who do you feud him with? Who is this? Tell me a single star, like just a person who's not in a tag team, not whatever, as a heel. Lance Archer, but he's going after Cody.
Yeah.
All the guys in the Inner Circle, like Darby Allin, is still going after Sammy Guevara. Jericho and Moxley still kind of have a thing going on.
For Jake now, Hager's, I would say just have him on tags. Like kind of helping out somebody until he finds like a feud of his own, or he starts his own cult.
Yeah, but to me, if you have him in tag teams, you might as that's like the Bray Wyatt Matt Hardy bullshit. That's like you just take two guys who you don't know what to do with and put them together. That's what I mean. Now, I'm not going to judge them until I see what they deliver, but I'm looking forward to Blood and Guts next week, and that's the main thing. So,
like I said to you, maybe just have their own cult. Because, for example, you have the Dark Order that is, a cold dark, right? Heel. What about a cold that is positive? You don't
even need to say positive, but just like, a face.
They counterattack, the opposite version of the Dark Order. Mm-hmm. And that will be Matt Hardy. And get like two guys that maybe don't have enough exposure. You know what I mean? Get like...
that is definitely true because the elite, more so like the Young Bucks, they kind of had something going on with the Dark Order. I mean, SCU does as well. So then maybe you could do, SCU goes against like Grayson, Uno, and whoever, and then Matt
Hardy.
and Matt Hardy goes against, Brodie Lee. So that is definitely something you could do. I feel like that is probably what they're going to do because, like I said, unfortunately, they can't have Brother Nero. He's still trapped
Yet.
on SmackDown Live.
Yet.
Like you
Yet.
said, that would be
Yes.
something if you could really prolong this feud and then we hear Brother Nero's music hit, that would be extremely legit. And like I said, AEW was the clear runaway home run, knocked it out of the park winner this week. Not saying NXT was a bad show, but we saw 0 matches. So
yeah, we saw 0 matches, and we have a lot of we'll have our coverage on that also. But it is the truth, though. It is the truth. Like AEW, gave us a legit field Dynamite. Hey, there was new storyline development, a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, this is how you do a show. This is how you do a show during a crisis. You acknowledge it. You say what you need to say, but you still give us the exact same thing that we would have seen regardless.
Exactly.
You don't need to just be lazy with it. And I understand you want to protect yourself, but it's like if some people are going out there,
guys, yes,
yeah, it's like, but if some people are going out there to wrestle, you might as well just give us good product.
Yeah. Yeah, don't give us Andrade and Mysterio for the 10 million time. And I'm not sure on either one of them. And Jean Paul said in the review, he's like, I don't want to see this anymore. And it's true. He's like, why? It's like, no, it's done. It's done. No,
when it's pointless, because not to get into it, but what? Mysterio beat the United States champion for what?
So, of course, they're going to say now he deserves a United States Championship match.
Yeah.
And it's not that we're picking sides here, but it's just clearly to see, if you have a little bit of a brain, and if you have your 5 senses, right where they need to be, you know who's putting the best effort here.
Yeah, and like you said, we love WWE, we love AEW, and you said about picking sides, but this is the thing: if I have one, a delicious red apple, and I have an apple that's spoiled, I'm going to take a bite out of the good apple. I'm not going to eat the bad apple just because I've had this apple first. I don't care. I'm eating what's fresh. I'm eating what freshly squeezed.
You see why Jean Paul is he wants to be Adam and bite the apple, and that's why because of Jean Paul we all get original sin. So thank you, Mr. Leg, on that. Yeah. Thank you. We're all condemned thanks to you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Adam!
So that was that was our Dynamite review, and like you said, we hope you guys enjoyed it. Just like you do every Wednesday, and follow us on all the social media: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, of course, right here on YouTube. Like I said, YouTube, we do the videos every show, every week. Facebook is where you can find the updates as soon as we hear them. And also on YouTube, we have a bunch of soccer coverage, FIFA gameplay, WWE gameplay. We got videos coming every day, multiple videos every day. Of course, if you haven't already.
Nothing else to do. No,
exactly. If you haven't already.
Stay home. Hashtag stay home. Do videos. Make content.
If you haven't checked out Monday Night Raw review, check that out. Again, we saw AJ Styles, him in the contract signing, I guess you could call it, with The Undertaker. That was kind of a letdown. The main thing of that show was the opening act, Adam Copeland Edge cutting that amazing promo on Randy Orton. And we have our thoughts on the Broken Skull Sessions, Bret the Hitman Hart. So please check out those videos if you haven't already.
Subscribe, like he said, hit the bell. Thank you for the new ones. We're getting a lot of new subscribers. Thank you so very much for trusting us. Thank you for believing in this initiative, like I always said, for believing in these two guys that all they want to do is provide good commentary, good knowledge, good thoughts about everything that is going on in the wrestling world. We do it sometimes a little bit on soccer on my end, and Jean Paul also has the Wrestling Hall, great Wrestling Hall, reviewing toys. Yeah, he has an amazing knowledge. It's not just a toy that no, there's a story back to it, like what they do with it, why they put the certain attires, the certain gears, what they do. Amazing, amazing commentary, guys. So, Jean Paul, anything else we should say?
Yeah, I think that we only have one thing left to say.
All right, let's say it.